Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Main, back here with Pastor Victor Brote. If you guys want to know more about me, you can go to stevemain.com if you want to reach out to me or anything like that. If you guys have comments or things that you want to add to what we say, please put them in the comments section. We always appreciate the likes and the subscribes.
Oh, yeah.
Just building this channel. So, welcome, Pastor.
Thank you. I wanted to think about Abraham today. And Abraham is an amazing story. I know it was a long time ago, but it's an amazing story of faith. And if you read about him, you discover that he comes from Ur of the Chaldeans. Now, that is current in today. If you look up the Book of Gilgamesh, it's one of the most ancient writings of stories. They may have found a few that are older, but this is a story of the flood. You find this flood story all around the world. And it's one of those amazing things that are just proof of the validity of the Bible, of the story. Now, it's a little bit different once it goes through Abraham and into Moses's writing. But this story is the God's perspective shared in a true and accurate way. But Abraham is in Ur of the Chaldeans, and God calls Abraham out. You're going to move. You're going to move to a place that you don't know much about, but I'm going to bless you as you are faithful. And we're going to see this as kind of like a Christian standard for all of us. I mean, you may not be called to a new country, but we are called to a new walk with the Lord. And when we do that, God blesses our stepping out. And Abraham became very blessed as he was faithful. In fact, you can't do it here in LA, but if you look in the desert skies where you lived, and I lived for a while there, it's just crystal clear. And you look up and you see those stars, it looks like there's millions of them. Somebody's counted them, but they're just so many stars. And God says, look up in the desert sky, and I will make your offspring like that. Wow, what blessing. And that is a truth, that's a character of who God is like, is when we step out, when we kind of go beyond the comfort zone, God wants to bless us. That is his character. And it seems to open the doors of blessing for us when we step out and allow God to be in charge of those areas that it's hard for us to let go of.
Yeah, we could go on and on and on about this stuff like we always do. We just decided to put it on a video and let people be a fly on the wall as we talk. But he trusted God, and God loved that faith. He trusted God. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It's the evidence. It's the proof of what we don't see. And God wants to see how we manage the resources that he's put under our management. It seems like it's under our control, but it's really under God's control. And if we can let go of that and just let God just do what he's going to do by trusting him and believing him, especially with our resources, with our money, with our time, giving to him, because he already owns it all. He doesn't need it. It's all kind of like a big test. Let me see what I'm going to give you this much money, just like the parable of the talents and the stewards, and making it grow and not being fearful and hiding it. And he wants to see our hearts. He wants to be in a relationship with him, and he wants us to trust him. And this story that you're bringing up and talking about Abraham trusted. He made mistakes like all of us. Like all the men of God, David, Solomon, you name it. They all made mistakes, and Abraham did too. But he trusted God. Underneath, he trusted God.
It's amazing how God kind of cuts through our imperfection, and it's as if our trusting in him allows that imperfection that's naturally part of our being. it allows it to kind of fall away, like a shell comes off of us, and God blesses as a result, or God can open up those doors of blessing for us. And it wasn't easy for Abraham. You think about it, you are the new guy in a new country speaking a different kind of language. It was close, similar, but they were definitely different folks with a different custom. And there was Abraham in his tent. He didn't get a mansion. He was eventually very rich, but he didn't get a mansion. And we've kind of joked about this before, Steve, is he's called rich. But today, we can push a button and get entertainment, or watch a football game, or order foods from across the world. It just drive up to our door. We are rich, and it's so easy for us to lose that perspective. But when we turn over the stuff to God, it changes us, and our eyes are open to how God works.
Yeah, it's so true. And Abraham is one of those people in the Bible that had the ultimate faith. And God he loves that, the trust and the faith. And it is hard, and it's hard today. And you're right. Abraham didn't have a cell phone. He didn't have any of the luxuries that we have, but he trusted God. Now, what about us? Are we going to trust God, or are we going to have fear about our next meal, or our next whatever we might need? And it just, it's so simple, but yet it's not, for us to really trust God. But that's what he's looking for. When we trust him with all our heart, that gives us an incredible relationship with our Father. And I love to relate stuff to resources and finances. That's what I do. I'm a businessman. So it really is amazing if you really trust God. And then check yourself, evaluate yourself, see if you have an unhealthy relationship with stuff. Do you have an unhealthy relationship with money? Well, if there's too many emotions, fear and greed in there, you do have an unhealthy relationship with money.
And I think it's really important to realize that our culture is more like Ur of the Chaldeans than it is anything like Abraham. Even in the church, we soak up the culture around us, and we need this thing. We need to have all these support systems around us, and it's really artificial, and it's counter to the culture that we are called to, and that Abraham stepped into. I kind of think of Abraham's journey as he takes one or two steps in certain directions, and it's hard for that first step, and then the next step that's hard, but you get stronger. It's kind of like working out a muscle, where you become stronger as you go through the steps of trusting God. And all of a sudden, God is in the middle of this Canaanite land that God promises to Abraham. And think about it. Abraham's in this foreign country, people who don't quite trust him, and in our day, it's pretty rough age, but we really don't expect our whole family to be invaded by marauding groups of people, at least generally. But you could lose your head very fast in that situation where Abraham was. But God had a promise for him. God had a promise, and he did his best, imperfectly, but he did his best to just relax in that promise.
Yeah, we could go on and on and on, but it's liberating, it's freeing to trust God. It really is. And to gain the favor of God just by letting go. So great topic, Victor. Thanks for your input. Can't wait to do this again. And
so fun.
Yeah, we will see you next time. Thanks, Pastor.
Freedom. Thanks.